Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist Podcast Show, where we talk about getting into dental school, getting into residency, and life as a new dentist. Ladies, gents, it's a new year, which means new things to be thankful about, but also new things to put on your action list, right? And hopefully, it's one of those things where those things that you're trying to do or that you want to do, you get some tips, you have some actions, you have some strategies, and that's what this episode is about. So be sure that you are continuing to tune in, share, like, comment, and let us know and give us some feedback about things that you want to have us talk about upcoming in this year's set of episodes. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by GetIntoDentalResidencyChallenge.com. Yes, a challenge. We challenge you to challenge yourself to jumpstart your residency process, so that your residency application process, so that you are not surprised, you're not fearful, you're not doubtful about how you should put your application together, so that you do two important things, which is get attention and then get invited to interviews, but also get selected this application cycle. For more details, go down below or up top, which is getintodentalresidencychallenge.com, and we'll see you in the next challenge. So today we're going back to the West Coast. We've had successful, not success. Yeah. There've been some successful actions that people have been implementing and celebrating and getting into residency. Today we're talking with D4, about to be Dr. Isabella idea. And Doc, please introduce yourself for those that are meeting you for the first time, and just give us a little bit about your background as well.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Thanks first and foremost, Dr. Darwin, for allowing me to be a part of this process, for aiding me through this process. My name is Isabella Cecilia Dumauidea, but you can call me Bella for short. As Doc said, I am a fourth year at Loma Linda University School of Dentistry. I did get my Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene from that same university, and I practiced as a hygienist, a registered dental hygienist, for about a year before I did go back into the DDS route. And now I really can't believe it. I'm 4 months away from graduating, and just got through that very challenging but rewarding process of match into a pediatric dental residency here at Loma Linda University School of Dentistry once again. I can't
Awesome.
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, you are glowing, Doc. You're glowing. You're glowing. I mean, not that
Thank
you weren't glowing
you.
before, but you got a special glow now because you got this, you know, one step closer to becoming a board certified pediatric dentist by Matchins. I want to say congratulations, and we want to know all the things and um how you did it. What also is key once you do that is that also gives you the ability to feel comfortable starting to explore, where are these programs? Where is the program for
Mhm.
me? What are
Mhm.
some of the things I'm looking for in the program? Well, you don't know until you start exploring. So let's talk
Exactly.
about that. Let's talk about the ways that you went about starting to explore the different types of pedo programs in schools. You know, they're school based, they could be hospital based, they could be at a health center, they could be in private practices. There's different types of practice modalities that pediatric dentistry training takes place currently. Tell us a little bit about the number of schools that you applied to and what you were looking for in pedo programs as well.
So you just like exactly like you said, Doc, you really don't know what you're looking for until you ask about it and just do some research. Truthfully, the best place to start was the AAPD website. That inspiration from having accomplished that externship at my own school had me thinking, you know what, I should try to do the same at other schools, especially over my breaks and just anytime I have the chance to. And usually from the AAPD website, you can actually go to each program by the state. That's another way you can kind of organize and collect your thoughts on like, is this a place I can see myself at? That's kind of like a very basic one. That helped me greatly in determining, okay, what's realistic, what's something that speaks to me, You don't know that until you literally you click a link to that school. I'll give an example. I was mainly looking at West Coast schools at first, right? Then I expanded it to you know what? It's not the number, some like a magic number. I know a lot of people will say, oh, at least 10 schools because it's this very competitive. I use that kind of as a marker, sort of like a starting point. At least 10 schools I'll apply to. As I sort of like began to develop my own list of what it is I'm looking for. I'm married, so my husband is also a dentist. We actually met while I was in hygiene school. He graduated from Loma Linda in 2020. So he's actually taking over his parents' practice. And in my mind, my priority is I would love to be close to family. So that immediately solidified, okay, West Coast, or if we have family in a certain state or near a certain program, absolutely, we're going to consider that. And I made sure that that was a conversation we had. That's something that every applicant should do too. Wherever you are in life, like, for us, like right now, it's not so much a priority to start the family planning, not to get super personal about it, but he was definitely on board with what my dreams were from the start, and he's been extremely supportive. And we made sure we had that conversation of if I were to apply to programs, are you cool with me going outside of California? And it's a partnership. We have that kind of relationship where he was like absolutely supportive of that. And of course, I'm not employed, so what that meant was, okay, are you willing to support whatever that means financially when I'm traveling to go to these programs? So kept those externships to mainly California. I did go to some Southern California ones, USC, for example. They have a really great one that's like a week long. That was in itself another kind of example of the essential, just how much the importance of being really persistent and making sure that you're communicating and being yeah, consistency, intentionality, doing everything you can to make it work. I ran into a lot of different barriers that I thought would make me not eligible to be an extern there, but I made it happen. And I made sure that I was talking to who I needed to talk to and following up every day. I also looked at whether or not the residency I was interested in would cater more towards something that was more didactic versus something that was more hands-on. What's really great about so in general, you'll have programs that are either hospital based, university based, or kind of a combination. What I really liked about, for example, I don't really have too much family, but I do have friends in Texas. Their program, San Antonio, has a really great combo program. So they have hospitals that are community based, more school research based, base and foundation. And how could I have known that? I networked with my faculty at my school who had gone there. I would not have known that if I hadn't talked to them and asked them what they liked about their program. And so I looked for that. Like it at first I thought, oh, I'm more hands-on. I'm not very book smart. This was this like rule I was telling myself. I can only apply to hospital based. As I expanded from just hospital based, which are mainly the NYU Langone programs, to oh wow, there are really great programs such as USC, which has a combo, and Loma Linda, which is a combo. That I realized is what spoke to me because I am still very much green as a student, as a new dentist, and that made the most sense for me as I shadowed there and saw, okay, this is what the residents do day in, day out. There's an element of it being sort of similar to what we experience in the clinic as dental students. But there is that freedom of, okay, you are a licensed dentist, however, and there are some clinical decision making that you might make, but that culture and what that looks like day to day, that's something you can only really observe when you're there. So on paper, on the links, you can only maybe know so much, but it's really putting yourself out there and making sure you solidify an actual concrete time to spend with those programs that you're prospectively looking at that will help you make that decision. And from there, you can realize, oh, yes, I do want to be in a hospital based versus combo versus a university based program. So that helped me a lot.
After you have at the point that you've have these interviews and you had 8 of them, again,
Mhm.
congratulations on that because
Thank
that's a
you.
task, an accomplishment in itself. Then you've got to, take your glasses off, sit down, and now you got to go, all right, now I got another job to do. Now I got to rank these programs. Tell us a little bit about how you made the decision to rank programs
Sure.
after going on the interviews and getting a chance to see the culture, see the places, meet the people, talk to them, smell, visual, I mean, like all of that, touch,
Yeah.
tell us how you were able to put it all together to come up with your rank list. What were some of the things that stood out that helped you rank your programs accordingly?
Definitely the culture. I was thinking to myself every time I would land at the location of where it was that I was at, I would think, okay, let's imagine this is a Monday in the middle of, I don't know, like March or something. You're heading to clinic. How are you feeling about your life at that moment? Are you happy you're here? Are you like, "Ah, I have to go to, like I have this patient or that patient." Putting myself in that perspective of, if this was my everyday, would I be happy? Am I excited to learn? Am I going to get what it is that I am looking forward to receiving from this program? That was a big thing. When I say culture, I speak to, if I'm having a particularly bad day or a really anxious day, do I have the kind of support and the environment that would enable me to get through that kind of cloudy part of my day, talking to the residents at each program was really helpful, because I would just kind of ask them like, yeah, so what does your day to day look like? Do you go to the gym? Do you have time to do this and that? And that would kind of help me envision, okay, can I lead the lifestyle that I want to live? Something that really motivated me was like, I definitely want to have an element of that work-life balance, but I'm also okay with really hitting it, pedal to the metal, and committing myself to a program. So some residents that I spoke to at different programs would be like, I'm not trying to go through school 2.0. I'm just trying to get some experience, get my certificate, and go. Other programs that had like a master's, if you declared that as part of your, interest. For example, the 3-year program I applied to, they have either a master's in public health, or I believe it's the master's of dental sciences. And so those would kind of gear you towards, okay, if you're going this pathway, this is how it's going to look. That helped me rank a lot, because I thought, um, is this the kind of educational experience I'm looking for? We were talking about stipend. That was a huge part of, and I didn't really expand on this too much. When I was looking for schools, I was looking for, okay, this is going to be more money, this is going to be more time. Am I going to be able to receive some sort of, compensation for what I'm doing? And not to say that it's all about the money or anything, but your lifestyle can definitely be shaped by the kind of philosophy that program has. And if they are paying you, depending on the program, you are considered either like an employee of that hospital that you're at, or you are recognized as like, you're a dentist, you work at whatever facility, but you do receive some sort of stipend. And so that kind of shapes the way that you are treated in that program. Other programs, they might not give you so much of a stipend. It's more tuition based. That, again, that's speaking more to that university experience. If you're more comfortable with that, then that's something that helps you rank. I remembered being at a crossroads between whether or not I wanted to rank UW higher than San Diego, because both were like, in location and culture, so ideal to me. Besides, my number one. But it was interesting. I was really looking at like, where do I see myself being like really excited to get into? It was a combination of that. It was also a combination of, am I happy with the day to day? What are the expectations that they have of me as a resident? What kind of exposure am I getting to the things I'm really passionate about? One thing I'm really passionate about is working with cleft lip and palate patients. And so that was something that I wanted to make sure I was getting out of my programs. Does this have a very strong exposure to patients with developmental disabilities, or other special healthcare needs? Which, that kind of ties back to what I'm really passionate about with the community, which is that there are vulnerable populations that, even my own cousin, she was served at Loma Linda and USC, and those personally spoke to me, and that was why I ranked them so highly on my list. And so, yeah, it's kind of a mixture of things. Everybody's a little different. For me, of course, on paper, it was like location, as long as it's on the West Coast and ideally in California, that would, be first on my list. And that's why, again, like with UW, that was so hard, because I'm like, wait, in my brain, I'm saying I want to stay in California, but I really like their program and their culture. So why is it that I want to rank them higher on my list? And you're
Yeah,
really going to be surprised at yourself at what speaks to you that you will not really realize until you're actually there. That's why externships are helpful too. You can kind of get a
yeah.
vibe for the interview, but take notes as soon as you're done with your
Yeah, I was getting
interview.
ready to say,
Make an
take notes.
Excel
You got to
sheet.
take notes
That's
because you're
exactly what
not
I
going to
did.
remember. You're not going to remember. I
Hmm.
remember we talked about it too
It's so
because you're
true.
not going to remember. You're not going to remember
It's
everywhere
a
you go and
blurry.
what you see. Like, and sometimes you won't even remember the day of just an hour ago after you left
So
the
true.
building. But
It's
you should.
exhausting.
You should sit down, go back to your hotel room, and write down. Reflect,
Everything you
have a journal.
remember.
That's why this journal is so important, right?
Hmm.
Reflect and do an assessment, do a self-assessment. So a lot of things that went into the rank process, and
Absolutely.
and all of those things will influence where you put the program. What's the best way for people to contact you if they have some more questions?
You can contact me at my email. I'm usually pretty good about that. It's just my name, isabella.cd.idea, like I have an idea, at gmail.com. That's a really good way for me to do that.
There you go, right there. Isabella.cd.idea
At
at
Gmail.
gmail.com. We'll put
Hmm.
that down. If you guys look down in the narrative and also on the screen here, you'll see the correct spelling. Well, again, congratulations. It's
Thank
been
you
a
so much.
process. It's been a
Yes.
process to a successful match in pediatric dentistry, and you are on. Well, you've been on your way to
Yeah.
pedo. This is just more of an official notification of you matching, right? Of you matching into
Yes.
pedo. So continued success to you. We'll keep in touch, especially after the first, or maybe before the first year, just to see how you're
Yeah.
surviving pedo. Because the hard part, well, the easy part is done, right?
Yeah.
It's getting in. It may not seem
Yeah.
easy, but now it's time for the hard part. Now you got to get through it.
Getting
Now you
out.
got to survive. So we want to make sure and check up on you, make sure that you're surviving and doing well. So
Yeah.
again, thanks and continued success to you. And to you that are listening, to all of you that are listening and watching, go to the next episode. Go to the next episode right now. Go, go, go.